Hey everybody, welcome to the Real United States and welcome back to our cooking segment that we do here. We're trying to get rolling, see if everybody enjoys this. And this month we've been working on some less than common ingredients, and I'm going to stick with that theme for the next few episodes probably. So today we're going to do a beef tongue. Okay, this is another one of those things that you can sometimes find in the average mainstream grocery store, but not always. But you can almost invariably find in an Asian grocer or a Latin market. And in this case, we found it at a local Latin market because we only live a block from the Latin market, and they have all these sorts of cool things. Bev and I, again, this is something that we both grew up with and enjoyed a lot, and we still have whenever we can find it to this day. Again, this is going to taste very mild. It's got a beef flavor, but it doesn't taste exactly like steak or roast. It has a little bit different flavor, but it's basically like any other piece of the cow. It's a muscle, and so it's going to taste like beef. It does texturally, again, have a little bit different mouthfeel. It's, again, a very fine-grained meat, so it's going to give you a little bit different feel. It's not going to feel quite the same in your mouth as it does the pot roast made, say, from a rump roast or something like that. But other than that, it's not tough. You would think that this is kind of a tough meat, and I suppose if it was improperly cooked, yeah, it would come out pretty tough. This does require you to stew this, essentially, for about 6 hours. Now, this particular tongue cost us $5.98 a pound. And it weighs just under 3 pounds. It was like $17 and change for a 3-pound piece of beef. Now, the tongue has a very, very thick skin on it, and it doesn't part with that skin real easily. So you're going to cook this with the skin on, and then once it's cooked, it'll peel right off just like a blanched tomato. Comes right off, no problem. So you just cook it in its entirety. Now again, this is something you're going to cook in a water bath. You're going to stew, and or water roast, however you want to think about it. You can do this on the range top. You can do this in your oven, or you can do it in the slow cooker. We're going to do ours in the slow cooker today. I brought my cast iron kettle out here that I love. I love working in cast iron. The only thing about the cast iron kettle, when you put this on the stove for 6 hours, is every couple hours or so you got to check on it. Make sure it's got water on it. Maybe add a little water, because even with this heavy cast iron lid, there will be some steam escape here. It'll lose some moisture, and you will have to check on it periodically. You put it in the slow cooker, turn it on high, 6 hours, forget about it. It's not going to lose enough moisture that it's going to have to be replenished probably. Probably still not a bad idea to check on it. If you're going to be gone all day, you want to put this in the morning, you could put it on low. If you're going to be gone 8 or 10 hours, that's fine. And then we're going to put pretty basic, seasoning on this. Some onions, some garlic, salt and pepper, and a bay leaf. Put some water in, stew it. That's it. I've already taken this out of the packaging. I've scrubbed it all up. This is where it's connected to the cow. You can see it's cut away. Skin very, very tight on there. It's not something that's going to be fun to peel off. It is doable if you wanted to grill these, but it's a lot more work. And, well, I'm not really... I'm not that ambitious, folks. I'm just not that ambitious. So typically we have always stewed these. Again, this is about 3 pounds. So I'm going to put this in my slow cooker, and I'm going to add my seasonings and my other ingredients in around that. Let me just scrub my hands. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Hands all scrubbed. Also cleaned off my cutting board. Get all the meat off of that, because I'm going to now cut some vegetable. So red onion, 1 onion's fine. Red onion's what I got in the house. You could use red onion, white onion, yellow onion, Vidalia onion, leeks, scallions, probably just about anything you wanted to. I got my garbage bowl here. Peeled my onion, gonna rough chop it. Doesn't have to be fancy. Boy, howdy, that's a good strong onion. I tell you what, that's gonna let you know it's there. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm gonna put a little salt on the cow tongue here. Looks like a lot of salt, but again, there's almost 3 pounds of meat in there. Salt, a little pepper. I'm not using onion powder, garlic powder this time because we're going to skin this piece of meat and you'd lose a lot of that. So I'm going ahead with a raw onion and a raw garlic. And again, you want to remember to put in a bay leaf. Which is a lot easier if you've got tiny fingers like my wife does. Single bay leaf is sufficient. Sort of a traditional thing here in the United States with pot roasts to use bay leaf. I'm going to put in that whole onion. And that onion is going to sort of disintegrate. It's going to cook down and become part of the broth that's seasoning this thing. But I like onion. So now we've got here, this isn't mine, by the way. This is Beverly's. This was a Christmas gift. This is a microplane grater. Something new that I got her for slicing up things like garlic. And I'm given to understand that it's very sharp and that I should proceed with caution. So we'll do just exactly that. We will be cautious because I don't think slicing myself up in the middle of this demonstration would be that appealing. What do you think? Wow, that's a sharp little grater. Wow, buddy, I want to tell you, boy, howdy. That will let you know it's there. And it slices it up very fine. You could chop this with a knife. You could chop this up with a food processor. You could buy pre-minced garlic. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to put some water on this. That's it. Salt, pepper, onion, garlic, and a bay leaf. Some plain agua. I'm going to use this because that garlic's a little sticky. A lot of sweetness in the garlic. To rinse some of that off of my Beverly's grater. Get that garlic. I don't want to waste it. Don't tell the trouble of grating fresh garlic. I don't want to waste it. There. Took less than 2 cups of water. Well, less than 2.5 cups. About 2 cups of water in there. I'm going to put the lid on that. I'm going to put that on high. We're going to come back in about 6 hours or so. And I'm going to skin this and show you how it looks when it's all cooked and ready to cut up. Okay, so 6 hours has elapsed. Our tongue should be good and thoroughly cooked now. I've gone ahead and I've unplugged my crock pot and brought it over here where I could show it off to you. We're going to take it off now. We're going to put it on the platter. It's going to have to cool for a little bit. We'll come back again and I'll show you how we skin it. Right now, oh, it looks good and cooked to me. The tough part's going to be wrestling this out of here without scalding myself. And I've got, you know, little pieces of napalm onion sticking here that are going to go all over the place. But, wow, it's tender. That fork just slid right into it. Drain some of that off. And bring that over here. So now that's going to have to cool for a little bit because you don't want it to get cold or you'll never get that skin off. The skin will tighten right back up on you. So it's got to be done while it's still pretty hot, but it's got to be cool enough so you can touch it and work with it without burning yourself. So for right now, this is the next step in the operation, just letting it cool down a little bit. And your broth here, which is basically just onions, garlic, you want to fish that bay leaf out. And you can go ahead and you can use that for stock, for soup. Waste not, want not. So we'll be back as soon as this is cool enough to handle. Okay, I've let our 3-pound tongue set for about half an hour so it could cool down, still good and warm, but enough that I can handle it without getting burned. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the skin off. Rather than trying to deal with this all in one huge piece, I'm going to cut it in half. Cuts very easily, very, very well done, obviously, after 6 hours. And now usually Beverly does this, So this is kind of my first time at skinning one of these, although I've skinned enough things that this shouldn't be a huge deal. And I'm going to just go ahead and separate the tongue from the flesh. I may have let it cool just a little too much, but it's peeling off okay. Like I say, you don't want it to get any cooler than this, or whatever it is that that holds the tongue to the flesh will really set right back up on you. It's still good and hot, so you can see that just kind of peels like a blanched tomato, much like I said earlier. Just peels right off of there. There's nothing wrong with the skin. It's perfectly edible. Obviously, it's rough on the outside, so it's gonna be a little weird mouthfeel. There we go. Just peels right off. It's just hung up a little bit there. This is the tongue tip. Here I'm going to need to go ahead and split the skin a little bit so I can get at it. Oh yeah, certainly still good and hot. A little bit, it's clinging to the meat there still, you see, but for the most part it's coming off. Still good and hot, going to be plenty hot when we get it to the table. Not a lot of fat on tongue. Very healthy meat. So, you know, for those of us that are concerned about maybe we shouldn't consume quite so much fat, this is an ideal dish to prepare to, ow, that is still hot, to help reduce your fat intake. You know, I wouldn't necessarily call it a diet meat, but it's very, very, very lean. Which I suppose makes sense. The body doesn't really store a lot of fat in the tongue. So there we go. See, that quick, I got it all peeled. That's it. Then you just go ahead and slice it across the grain. The muscle runs this way. Slice it across. Right on the tip of my tongue. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. So very, very tender. And I mean, it's one of those things. Taste is a funny thing. Taste is something that you really have to experience. So if I tell you this tastes like beef, and you're expecting it to taste like pot roast, and it doesn't, your brain's going to tell you there's something wrong. It tastes similar, but it doesn't taste exactly like a pot roast. So again, go into it, if you're going to try this and you haven't had it before, you know, try to be open-minded. The flavor is going to be something new and you don't have a frame of reference for, and I think it'll be a lot easier to adjust to, but it's relatively inexpensive and it's very, very lean and very healthy. So that is beef tongue. That is the next on our agenda of episodes and some of the more unusual cuts of meat that we can find here in the United States. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that if you haven't already, you'll subscribe and come along for the adventure. We love having everybody with us. If you've got questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. I love hearing from everybody. I really do. I try to get back to everybody I can. And as always, thank you for watching.